Hello people of the internet, my name is Brad Williams, and this is the first video of a series that I'm going to do that shows you how to create a WordPress theme from a starter theme. So when I first started WordPress theme development, I had no idea what the hell was going on, so I kind of want to give back to the community a little bit, show you some steps that helped me throughout the process, and get you going in your own WordPress theme development. Again, my name is Brad Williams. I've created several WordPress theme projects. Some of my popular ones out there are StratPress, which is a WordPress theme based off Bootstrap. Currently working on integrating into Bootstrap 4 once it comes out of alpha. You can also check me out over at Bragg Interactive, helpwp.com, and I have a premium WordPress theme development course over at Bootstrap WP that goes over how to create a WordPress theme with Bootstrap, which is pretty much what this tutorial series is going to be over. So yeah, you can get it here for free, but I do have some other things that we'll move forward and we may do in further tutorial series. So if you're just starting out, you really need to have a little bit of background in HTML and CSS. Not a little bit, but I mean, you should know what HTML code looks like and how to write CSS. If you don't know how to do that or don't have knowledge in that, I'd recommend checking out some other tutorials on YouTube, getting familiar with HTML and CSS. Other than that, you don't really need to learn or know PHP in this series. I know a little bit of PHP, to be honest. I don't know it all. I'm not the one that's going to go out and create my own custom CMS with PHP. I mean, I could probably pull it off, like just Googling around and, going to Stack Overflow and things like that and piecemealing it together. But, I don't want to do that. And so along these tutorial series, I'm going to point out how to use the WordPress codex. Because when I was starting out, people were like, well, just go look at the codex. And I was like, well, hell, I don't really know what this PHP code is doing and where I need to put it, so the codex really isn't helping me at all. So hopefully with this tutorial series you can kind of follow along and learn some new things. So another thing that you need set up is MAMP, or a WordPress or a development. You need a local development environment set up. So I use MAMP on my computer. It's free. Again, there's tutorials out there on the web. I'm not going to go through setting that up and wasting your time and my time when there's other people that have already done that. So I'm not going to recreate the wheel. So go out on YouTube, Google or search on YouTube how to set up MAMP and WordPress on my local machine. Whether you're on a Mac or Windows, there's plenty of tutorials out there. So with that, let's get going. Alright, so I pretty much just had the screen up, so something to a screenshot. But what theme I'm going to start out with is called underscores.me. You can grab it from here, and I'm going to call this theme Titan. Give it a theme slug of Titan, and I'll go over what some of this theme slug and stuff like that means. My name is Brad Williams. I'll put it at my website, Bragg Interactive, and just give it Titan WordPress theme. So right now I'm not going to sassify it. I'm going to use vanilla CSS. In some tutorial series in the future, I may show how to use Sass. I currently use Sass on a daily basis. I would recommend anyone using it, but if you're just starting out with WordPress theme development, that may be a little too much. Let's get the basis going down and learn about WordPress theme development, how the theme's set up and things like that, and then we can move on to Sass and Gulp and stuff like that, which really makes theme development fun. Alright, so once you got some stuff in there, let's go ahead and generate this bad boy. Here we are. So it should download this zip file on your on your desktop. So let's open that up and look at the file. So I'm currently using Sublime Text. You can use anything that you want. I like Sublime. So go pick one out and find you a code editor that you like. So once you open this bad boy up, you'll see that you have all these PHP files. If you're new to theme development, you might be thinking, wow, that is a lot to digest. But if you go over to WordPress.org, this is the codex that I'm talking about. This is kind of, a codex is a place where WordPress tells you all about theme development, the different functions and the different things that you can use inside your theme to give your theme some more functionality. So you can kind of read over this. I'll include this link below this video. But if you scroll down here, there's a section and this says basic templates. At the very minimum, a WordPress theme consists of two files, the style.css and the index.php. So really, if you wanted to, you could delete all these files and just have this style and this index file, and you have a WordPress theme. So don't get too don't overthink all these files. It's not too much to understand. Once you just realize that these are only the files that you need, you can get going pretty easily. So let's start with the CSS file. It's the style.css, and hopefully you are familiar with CSS, this is all the styles that are going to style our theme. But a thing to note is this block up here. You can see in these comments, this is how you do a comment in CSS, that slash and that star or whatever it is, asterisk. I don't know the technical name, you may. But yeah, so this is where when you activate a theme in your WordPress dashboard, this is where it gets all those details. So the theme name is Titan, theme URL, this is where we downloaded it. You can, say you develop a theme and now you're hosting it or you're giving it away for free on your website. This is the place where this theme is available. So, just put a URL there. The author URL, this is the stuff that was generated for us in that last step when we, filled out all this information here. And then there's the licenses and the text domain. This is pretty important. The text domain is what is used for translations, and we'll get into that at a later time. But when someone from a different country or whatever downloads your theme, they can use this text domain to translate your theme into other languages. So that's pretty cool. And then these tags are just things like if you upload your theme to the theme directory, which is a pretty big pain in the ass if you ask me. This is how people can find your theme. Say it has Bootstrap in it or whatever, you can just add all these tags that you want. So yeah, that's the styles right there. And this underscore theme does a pretty good job of it has a table of content and it breaks each one up. You can kind of scroll through there and look at it if you want. So the next file that is mandatory is this index.php. So this is where we kind of get into some PHP tags and some things that may look kind of foreign to you if you don't know any PHP. So in a PHP file, you have to open a PHP tag. So you'll see this bracket, the question mark, and then PHP. You notice like in HTML, you usually have to close a PHP tag. Like if you're writing HTML, if you open up a body tag or whatever, you normally have to close it at the end. Well, many moons ago, WordPress made it where at the end of the PHP files, you don't have to close it. You don't have to, close the PHP tag like that. And it solved a lot of issues of people that were leaving blank spaces down here, which was causing the theme to bug out and have errors. So again, there's no need to close the PHP tag at the bottom, just FYI. Alright, so moving right along, it's kind of like best practice to have a comment section throughout anything that you develop, so when somebody comes behind you and looks at your files, they see what's happening, what this file is about, and stuff like that. So you see here that this is the main template file, and you can kind of read about it. I kind of just throw in some comments like this, starts the loop. But let's move right along. You have the get header. So what this is doing is grabbing the header. So it's pretty self-explanatory. So get underscore header. If you Google that, WordPress get header, we'll go right to the codex, and you can see here, get header. That's the usage. See, they open the tag and they close the tag. So when I first started WordPress development, I was like, okay, I need this whole tag right here, and I would copy it and I'd put it in here, and you can see here that it actually it would work because there's no errors. But if I put this up here, I get this weird discoloration because my PHP tags are wrong. See, it's opened up here, and then I open another one without closing this tag, so now it's all messed up. So I mean, you got to just kind of know where your PHP tags are opening and closing so you can put other PHP in there. So for example, to fix this, I may want to close this PHP tag first, and then I open that, and then I'd have to open another PHP tag up here to get this fixed. Now it's fixed. Opened it, closed it, opened it, closed it. Another thing I could do is do something like that where now it's open and now it's closed down there. So I don't want to get too far into PHP tags right now. So let's just go back to where we were, get header. So again, get header is just getting the header file. So get header. And again, the codex, you can kind of read some things here. And we may do some of these examples. But what's cool here is I use this name when I'm creating like landing pages that I need custom headers. So for example, like if you are a digital marketing company or you do PPC marketing, which is pay-per-click marketing, you may create simplified headers so when people land on your landing pages, they don't have a menu to click away from your landing page experience, which will increase your conversion rate. So what you can do is create separate headers and then put the name of that header in here, like this usage is saying, the name of your header, and it'll pull in a different header for the page that you're using. So that's pretty sweet. But what you need to learn right now, what you need to know right now is this get header. All it's doing is going over and grabbing this header.php file, and it's just putting all this code in your index file. And if you go through all your other pages, you'll notice that get header, it's all on your template pages, get header. So this is good if you have an HTML background. You probably like copy and paste your header blocks into all your HTML pages. Well, this has it where all you have to do is put the code in one spot, and then you can pull it into all your different pages. Yeah. So once we load up the theme in our map and kind of start going through the template files, I'll show that again, how that's working. Alright, so moving right along, this is just some div tags that's going to that we can use to style our theme. So pretty self-explanatory. If you have some HTML knowledge, we have an ID here and a class, so we can target these classes to style this however we want. So then we really get down into the meat of a WordPress theme, and that is the WordPress loop. So right down here, you can see here that it says start the loop. If you learn anything about WordPress, this is probably the most important thing to learn about WordPress. And you don't need to memorize this code. You'll see this code everywhere. So if you go into another template, archive, see, you'll see the loops right there. If you go into page, you'll see the loop is right there. So all this loop is doing is looping through your post. So if you're familiar with the WordPress dashboard, once you create a post in the WordPress dashboard, and you create several different ones, this is just running through them and saying, okay, we have a post, we have a second post, we have a third post, and all it's doing is just spitting them out. It's just looping over them over and over and over and over again. So it's saying, while we have post, look at the post, and then get a template for those individual posts. So this is another WordPress tag here. We can Google that pretty easily. Get template part, and you can get some examples here, but all it's pretty much doing is saying, hey, while we're in this loop, go get a template, which is in template part / content. So template parts, content, and then the post format. So again, if you're familiar with WordPress, maybe you're creating a new post, and over there on the right hand side, maybe you can select between audio, video, image, things like that. You can create different formats here, and WordPress will automatically output it however you have it in this file over here. But right now, since we don't have any get post formats, it's going to just grab the content PHP file. So this right here, the content.php, is going to spit out our post. So you can see here it's wrapped in an article tag. Then it has the header of each article. So it's saying if it's a single post, then spit out the title. So the title, this is WordPress, is singular is WordPress. These are all WordPress tags, PHP tags that WordPress gives you. And as you, if this is over your head, overwhelming right now, kind of just move along with it. And you know, this is like all foreign to me when I first started. I had no idea that, you know, if this was PHP, if this came from WordPress, what the hell this was, if this was custom to this theme, you know, who made this, I had no idea. So just kind of go along with it, and as you develop more themes, as we move through these tutorials, this will all come, you know, full circle, and you'll be like, oh, I've seen that before. It was over in Content PHP. So yeah, I'm just kind of giving you a brief overview here, and then as we start doing development, it'll all come full circle for you. So if it's a single post, let's just output the title. Else, so if it's not a single post, let's output the title with a link. So you can see ahref. This is HTML for those HTML people. So we're gonna create a title with a link in it, so when they click on it, you know, it goes to the single post. So that's a cool little trick right there. Then we have the post meta. So this is the date, you know, date, time, author, stuff like that. And you can see here it says Titan. So we have a custom function here that's outputting our post meta. So we'll get into our theme functions at a later time. But notice that it says Titan, which is the name of our theme. So you can kind of see that, you know, this is a custom function that was created for us in our theme. You know, it doesn't just say the title or, you know, the content, WP. It is something that this theme created for us, or that this theme creator created for us in the functions file. So we move along out of the header. We're going right down here in the entry content, and you can see here that the content is, you'll use this a lot as well when you're creating a theme. So the content is just spitting out the content. You know, when you're writing your blog post, this is literally all the content of your post. Then we moved on down here, and we have some, you know, post navigation, and then we have our footer. Notice that it says Titan entry footer. So this is another function that our theme creators created for us. So yeah, that's the content. So back to the index, get template parts, then we have the post navigation. This is another WordPress thing here for us, WordPress function. You can read about the post navigation, what it's doing here. So sometimes, you know, you Google something, the post navigation, you look at this and you're like, this is absolutely does nothing for me. I mean, I agree with you. This gives me nothing that I can use right here. So I like to use, you see it says developer.wordpress.org. If you can find a page that says like codex instead of developer, you get a lot more out of it. There's just a lot more examples of how to use things. And when that fails, I normally just go over to like Stack Overflow. You see here, the post navigation. You know, people ask questions about how to use different things in WordPress. You're going to learn a lot about, you know, other people asking questions. And the good thing about WordPress is there's, you know, so many people using it that a lot of the times what you're looking to do has already been answered online. It's been very rare that I can't find an answer to what I'm looking for, you know, through Stack Overflow or, you know, on the codex on how to do something. But yeah, we'll get into, you know, some customizations on how to, you know, customize the post navigation, how to style it, add classes to it, things like that in the future. And then here we have an else statement, and then it says template part content none. So this is saying in PHP we have an if tag, which is kind of like a check. So it's saying if something, so if it has post, if WordPress has post, then do this. Everything within this if statement. If it has post, do all this stuff. If it doesn't have post, do this. So if it has post, then we're going to run through all this stuff in here. If it doesn't have any post, then we're going to do this, which is, you know, same thing as this up here. Get template part, which is in here, this directory here, content, and then it says none, so it goes right into this. So this none is just pretty much like almost like a 404 page, but it's just a page that says, hey, there was no post, there's nothing found here. And, you know, maybe give them a search field so they can search a different term, something like that. And then we end our if statement right here. If, end if, close our HTML tags, main and primary. It's always a good idea to, you know, put HTML comments so when you're looking at the code you can see if things are, you know, closed correctly. And then we get our sidebar and we get our footer. So kind of like get header, this get sidebar is going to grab, can you guess what it is? The sidebar.php. So this is the code that grabs those sidebar widgets. So from your WordPress dashboard, if you go to appearance widgets, you know, we have a dynamic sidebar that we can use. So if someone puts like, you know, like a text area in that sidebar, this is where your text area would show on your sidebar. So it gets the sidebar and then it gets the footer. So get footer, kind of like get header, got the header. The get footer, of course, would get the footer. So this is going to be any file that has get footer, has get sidebar, or get header is going to use those three files. So you can see here that it's just some pretty basic HTML code, some div tags, and then it just echoes, you know, the name of WordPress. Proudly powered by WordPress, you know, theme by, and then the theme name and author. So yeah, pretty simple stuff here. I mean, if you're new to it, it probably doesn't look simple. You're probably like, this is hard as hell, and I don't know anything he's saying right now, which is fine. So for this tutorial, I'm going to kind of close it out right here, and in the next one, I'm going to actually load it up into our WordPress instance on our local machine, and then we can kind of, you know, poke through some things, open up a page, and then I can kind of show you where that page is coming from, and then we'll actually start going through some of this other stuff. So we can start going through the functions, start going over what some of these other files do, and we can start customizing the theme and making it look pretty. So yeah, I'm going to end this tutorial here, and we'll catch you in the next one.